Today, I wanted to talk about how journaling has really changed the way that I see things, changed my perspective on things, and how it has been the perfect antidote to a cluttered mind. An average person like you or me has roughly 6,000 to 50,000 thoughts per day. Now, of all of those thoughts, you're only really processing 1 to 5% of them. And that's roughly 2,000 to 2,500 thoughts per day. This got me thinking of all of those other thoughts that are unprocessed or unnoticed. What actually happens to them and what are they really about? Now, coming from somebody that is an overthinker and a worrier, I really want to try to understand about myself, how these thoughts are manifesting within me, and what these thoughts are really trying to say. Because these thoughts can be a glimpse into the things that, for example, we are consciously or unconsciously thinking about, things that we're passionate about, frustrated, angry, worried, or maybe even something that is going unnoticed that has started to probably surface in your mind. So I want to start with the story of why I started journaling and the different ways of journaling that I've adopted so far that has really helped me to process my thoughts and to learn more about myself, understand more about myself, and some of the tips and tricks that I use in terms of journaling. This video might be a little bit long, so I have timestamps in the video so you can skip to the part that you are most interested in. So I started journaling around October 2021, and this was at a time where I had gone through a big change in my life. I decided to move out of Myanmar and move to Bangkok. And this was at a time where things were very uncertain. We remember this was during the midst of COVID. It was at a time where I had to make a really difficult decision of moving abroad, leaving my family, leaving my friends, and to start a new life somewhere else outside my home country. And with that, obviously brought a lot of thoughts. It brought a lot of uncertainty and a lot of emotions that I felt that I didn't properly know how to process because I wasn't sure about who was going through the same situation and who I could talk to. I didn't want to bother people as well because it's, heavy emotions. So you don't necessarily want to be trauma dumping on your friends or your family. Even though there are going to be people that are willing to listen to you, so they can only do so much. And so I started journaling to process these thoughts and to kind of release them onto a piece of paper or onto a piece of a document. My first journal entry was on 22nd of October 2021. And the only prompts that I gave myself at that time to really start journaling was, number 1, what are you feeling? Number 2, what would you have done differently? And number 3, if you have nothing else to write about gratitude. Now, I know it's not the best types of prompts because it feels more directed towards negativity and towards, how I would have done something differently at each point in this time frame. So I'm not saying that was bad in any way, but I have modified, or I have different ways of managing or processing my thoughts through journaling now. One of the reasons why I tried to start is, number 1, wanting to learn more about myself. I have a lot of thoughts in the day. I go through a lot of experiences. Everyone really does. And not reflecting back or being introspective about those things is something that I thought was a missed opportunity, really, because there's so many different facets about your experience that you don't consciously think about. And so wanting to go back and to relive some of these moments or to process some of these moments a little bit more intentionally was something that I wanted to do to improve myself. And maybe next point is to better understand my thought process. Whoops, sorry. Is to better understand my thought process. I want to understand what are the patterns of thought I have, what are the streams of thought I have, what are the different ways that I think of certain situations when I'm thinking of certain situations, how do I manage or how do I react to certain situations. Those are the general things I wanted to better understand. The third thing is I wanted to understand about my inner voice. I would say that now, reflecting back from all of the journal entries that I've had before, and people telling me as well from a third person perspective, is I have a very critical inner voice. I don't give myself enough credit. I criticize myself quite strongly, and those are things that I don't necessarily always realize until I started journaling or until somebody else actually say it point blank in my face. And this has made me realize that these inner voices are the ones that are so unconscious, so subconscious in my mind that I don't even really understand what's happening. So understanding those inner voices are something I really wanted to know better about myself and what is really holding me back in certain situations. And maybe the fourth point is and this is maybe a tangent to understanding yourself better, but it's the point of understanding about things that give me not just joy or happiness, but contentment. I've started to understand that those are a little bit different and slightly nuanced, where joy and happiness really depend on external factors outside you, or things that need to happen to you, whereas contentment is a subtler way or a more peaceful way of thinking about things that are true to you right now, things that are reality to you right now. They might not actually be the best things. They might not be the perfect scenario or the best things that are happening to you right now. But essentially, what is something you can stomach? What is something you can accept? What is something you are allowed to be? So that's some of the journaling that I've done to really understand, am I in a place where I am trying to get to joy and happiness, or am I trying to get to a state of contentment and peace, so to speak? Obviously, a lot of other things, like things that I get frustrated about, things that annoy me, small things that people do that just make me want to pull my hair out, and things like that. For the longest time, I didn't know what I liked to do, or what I was interested in, hobbies I was interested in, who are the people that I loved hanging out with, activities that I enjoyed doing or not enjoyed doing, and really having that introspection and reflection really helped me to start to understand and define what those things mean for me. And that's essentially why I started to want to journal, and I have continued ever since. So now I want to get into the different ways that I journal. And again, there might be a lot of different other techniques, maybe better techniques, maybe better prompts that people have that they journal with. These are essentially the 5-6 ways. I have a bonus one that I started to journal that has really helped me for the past 5 years. And I hope that these are things that you also start to incorporate into your life try them out, see if it works for you, and then let me know in the comments below as well. So the first tool that I use is what I call conscious stream journaling. This is essentially just writing down whatever comes into your head and just putting it onto paper. So thought to paper. I'd like to put the analogy of a really messy ball of yarn that you're, with all these other different colors and all these threads just interwoven and being super messy. And you trying to take out a piece of yarn one by one and unthread it to categorize it into the different colors or into the different types of threads that are different in that big ball of yarn. And why I do that is because as an overthinker and as a worrier, a lot of thoughts in my head are so cluttered, and you need to be able to kind of decipher what those thoughts are actually trying to tell you. And so the way that I do it is, say for example, usually I use a book and a pen. You can also use, say, your iPad with your, pencil, stencil. Really depends on what your preference is. But I like a book and a pen where I'm going to write down about, say, for example, I start with where I am. So, okay, let's say I am in my house right now. I am sitting on a comfortable chair. I like the feel of this chair. This is something that is nice to me. I really like this chair, whatever, right? And then you go on to maybe things like feelings. Right now, I really like the feeling of the AC blowing cool wind on my face or on my body. That is a nice feeling. Or something that is more within your body as well. Oh, actually, I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry. Oh, this part of my body starts to feel a little bit of tingling or pain. So you can write about feelings that you feel within your body, your immediate environment, and whatever thought really comes into your head, write it down. Just simply write it down on paper. What this helps with is essentially to unload all of that onto paper, and you may uncover things that are worrying you, things that you never really thought about, things within your body that you start to feel, sensations around you, actual things around you that you never really put too much notice to. It is not a battle-tested method to uncover everything, but it should somehow give you some clarity about what is going through your head. And from that point onwards, you can decide, to either read back your journal, to analyze it further, and to maybe even think about what your next action point is. Sometimes I don't even really think too much about that. The point is just to unload whatever is on my head, because I just have too many thoughts, and unload it on paper, let it just sit there, and maybe marinate for it the next day. Number 2, gratitude journaling. Now, I put this in number 2 because a lot of journaling that I see for myself has been very worry-based. It has been, number 1, worry-based. It's been negative. It's been talking about my worries and my frustrations and my anger and a lot of those other types of feelings. But I had not been writing about things that I can be grateful for and things that I want to give gratitude to, the people that I want to be grateful for, the people that I feel that are pivotal to my life, that has given me so much joy and inspiration and encouragement for me to do the things that I do today. And so gratitude journaling is also something I was a little bit skeptical about at first, honestly, because I thought that this was just, your wishful thinking, toxic positivity, all of that. But when I started to do this more intentionally, and think about, okay, what are things that, the small things, right? So I really start with the small things that I'm grateful for. I have a house over my head. I have food to eat today that is nourishing to me, that I love to eat, and I can have the agency to go out and do the things that I really want to do, for example. So, oops. Okay. I am grateful that my guitar didn't fall. Right. So, where was I? Yes. So having those thoughts and actually journaling them properly to be more intentional about things that I can be grateful for. And by doing this, what I realized about myself is the way that I started to think about my day, and usually I do it in the start of the day. It really makes a huge difference on how I set foot on my day, because that one point of positivity and knowing that things will go well for you, even though there are a lot of things that might not go well for you and things that you worry about, gives me so much momentum to start my day in the right way. And this compounds really, because one action after another that I do that helps me, that makes an impact on my life, that I find to be positive and fulfilling, really wants me to do the next small thing, or even the next big thing. It compounds to the point where I am taking action and wanting to take action, and then motivated to actually do the things that I want to do. So really, gratitude journaling has helped me in that way to be more at peace with the things that I have and the things that I can be grateful for, and the people that I want to be, that I am grateful for, and also to have that positive thinking mindset throughout your day or your week. Number 3, we'll get to the negative now. Worry journal. I specifically love to do this worry journal, even though it brings a lot of strong feelings, and it is going to be quite stressful sometimes, but it helps me sleep at night. And not just a metaphor, but literally, it helps me sleep at night. The way that I like to do this is when you feel that you have a lot of emotions or a lot of worries that you're really, trying to process, have a piece of paper, type out or write down all of the things that you're worried about right now, big or small. And by doing that, you can start to take back your power and your energy away from what's actually just spiraling in your head. And I do this mainly because it helps me to compartmentalize and take that outside of my head, put it kind of in a box on the paper somewhere, and just let it sit, right? Let it sit there, and you can look at it a little bit later, but the point of you facing and acknowledging, I think that's really important, because when I first started doing this, I was lying to myself or filtering myself so much that I wasn't actually writing down the things I was really worried about, because I was worried about somebody reading this, being judged, feeling shame or anger, or not really wanting to go through all of those situations again. But when I shifted to saying, I am writing this for me, I am not going to read this back again, and actually I did, but at the point that I was writing it, I told myself, I'm not going to read this again, and I'm just going to write this and throw this away and just put it out on paper. By doing that and being unfiltered in your worries and the way that you write, you start to release or to liberate yourself from the things that are trying to hold you back. And it's such a visceral feeling that I always feel, because those worries obviously don't go away. They are on paper, but you can start to look back at it when you're in a right space of mind to actually be able to tackle all of these different things in different ways. The essential part of this is it gives you clarity. It gives you the tool to be able to take charge and face it head on, or to understand what is really worrying about you, so you start to think less in your head. And I really recommend this for anyone that is an overthinker and a constant worrier, just like myself. Recovering overthinker here, and you know, this has continually helped me too, so give it a try. Number 4 is a structured weekly journal. Now, everyone has a different style of doing this, and this one in particular, I started learning about how to do this from a meetup that I've gone to in Bangkok. We have a close circle of people that come together every week, and then we sit down and we journal together in our own spaces. And then we share a little bit about what we've journaled so far and tactical things that we're going to go through. The general format of this journal is things that give me energy, things that took away my energy within the week, things that I achieved this week or I'm proud of doing this week, or that I did this week that I'm happy about, things that I am challenged this week or haven't accomplished or have yet to accomplish, and lastly, what I aim to do next week. So this is more of a tactical way of looking at your week and seeing how you can take charge of the things that happened during the week before and the week after. And depending on, again, how reflective you want it to be or how tactical you want it to be, you can change those prompts up and then obviously go through that week by week. And the thing that I learned about doing this with a community is that I start to think less about myself overthinking in my head, because you start to realize that so many people actually are going through similar problems or are having problems that are either bigger than yourself, problems that are, you know, maybe even trivial problems that other people face that you just go, oh, that's so easy, but you know, why haven't you figured that out? But one thing that I've learned from this is the power of you being introspective and figuring out what is the best way through your own words. That is so powerful, rather than somebody that comes in and solutions for you to tell you, oh, this is the best way to do it. Oh, I've tried this already and this is my way of doing it. You should do it too. So I've started to understand that that is not the most helpful thing, although maybe the intention of somebody would actually be helpful in that way, but it's so much more powerful when the solutioning or the thought process to get to the solution comes from yourself. And that's the power of doing the journaling, either yourself or through this community, bouncing off of ideas and basically just airing out your thought processes to other people too. So I really recommend that if you have a group that is going to do journaling together, or you want to do journaling together with other people, I'd really recommend you to set up that group, do it weekly, and try it out. There will be amazing things that come out of it, and amazing conversations that you can have with, you know, your friends or social circles that you would never really think about, and essentially connect to people on a deeper level. That's the point of really wanting to nurture relationships and getting to know each other as well. The fifth way that I journal is what I call milestone or date-based journaling. And this is something where I do, say, a yearly audit of my life, reflection, a quarterly reflection, or maybe even a half-year reflection. We've just gone past June, so I started doing my 6 months of 2026 journaling, and it's really to put your goals or your milestones, things that you want to achieve within the year, goal setting, maybe even fear setting. There's lots of videos based on that. I might make a video of those in another time. But yes, those are the things that I start to journal about to make sure and to keep myself accountable for the goals that I've set and how I am achieving those goals until that date, and making sure that I am on track or not on track. Whatever it is, it's a space for me to go back to be reflective and to acknowledge of whether I'm achieving or not achieving those things. Plain and simple. The last one, this is a bonus one. I don't know what to call it, but it's essentially writing letters to people that you will never send. Or if you want to go digital, writing emails to people that you will never send. I've started doing this recently, and this is one thing that, outside of all of the different ways that I've journaled, has helped me so much in processing anger and frustration. Specifically because these situations are so emotionally intense, and you'll never be really able to talk to that other person. Sometimes you'll never be able to disclose this to the other person because of the situation, because it might compromise you and your current lifestyle or the way that you live. I essentially started to do this because this was a way for me to reclaim my peace. Some things that I still want to say or still want to action or still want to achieve, maybe I may not be able to do. And so I write down letters to these people and direct them, dear whoever. And with the most unfiltered thoughts, I will write this down to what I want to say to this person. And obviously I'll never send. But this unloads all of that pent up tension and energy and maybe even bad energy that has been lingering within me onto that piece of paper. And maybe I'll read this back again, maybe I won't, but at least I've been able to dislodge and expunge all of those out of my system. And maybe you can't even do that with just one letter. Write multiple letters for all I know. But it really helps me to reclaim my peace. One thing I've started to try to do more is to also write letters that I would never send based on gratitude. Like I said in the gratitude journaling, we don't give other people enough gratitude for some of the people in our lives. And journaling is not essentially always about negative thoughts and negativity. I want to also start to journal about things that are positive in my life, positive people in my life, things that I'm grateful for, and acknowledge those things on paper. And seeing that being actually written and you writing that piece is something you will reread again and be more and more grateful and thankful for these people in your life. So I'd recommend trying to do those things. So yes, these are the ways that I journal. I really hope you find them helpful. I want to maybe end with a few tips that I have for you to start journaling if you find it a little bit difficult to start journaling. This is some of the tips that I've learned that has helped me. Number one, make it accessible. Sometimes thoughts will flood into your head. Sometimes you'll have a random thought somewhere else that you really want to write down and you want to document it, right? So if you have a phone, make sure that this document that you are journaling in is accessible. Having a small book, wherever you go to just jot down your thoughts wherever is necessary is a great way to actually start journaling, and journaling in micro bits too. Second thing, don't obsess about the perfect environment. Don't obsess about the perfect time, the perfect place. the perfect situation to journal. Journaling is not about perfection. Journaling is about finding the imperfection and being okay with the imperfection and understanding your thoughts and your processes even when they're imperfect. And so journal wherever you can. Journal when you have the thoughts that flood into your head. If you want to do it more as a structured session, then obviously, give yourself some time, a block of time, say 15 minutes, half an hour, sometimes even 1 hour to really put yourself in that situation. Put on some calming music and let your thoughts flow. I think my last tip is, and this is more personal to me, I've tried different ways of journaling and processing thoughts and going through different emotions. Now, the different mediums that I've tried is, voice typing, voice memo, actually typing on a document, writing on a piece of paper, and so on. But what I found to be most valuable to me is actually writing down on paper. Now, why that is, and it's sometimes a little bit excruciating because your thoughts go faster than your writing. And the way that I like to do this with writing is because thoughts slow down when I'm writing. I am forced to be more intentional about the things that I write on paper because that is the one stream of consciousness that I have. I have a lot of thoughts that are still within my head, but then my writing slows me down to actually think of what I'm actually putting down to paper. And having that slow intentional thinking also makes you think in a clearer direction. There are other ways, like for example typing, which I found that I started editing too much. This is something I don't want to do, and I've tried not to do as well, but either when I write or when I type, I start noticing that I'm editing myself and going back to say the real things I want to say. So my challenge to you, and something that I found to be more productive and more beneficial to me, is to just write and not try to edit, not try to filter, just write it down. It is meant to be imperfect. It is not meant for somebody to read it back. It's not meant for you to read it back and make too much sense, although it does help, but that's not the point. So that is my challenge for you, and I really hope that you found these tips helpful. So please start journaling, start understanding more about yourself. It will change your life and really let you see different perspectives about yourself, other people, and it will be something that you give yourself thanks to. Thank you so much for listening. I am so grateful that you've come to the end of this video. I hope you like this video. If you do, please give a like. If you like content like this and want more content like this, please subscribe and also comment and share with other people about what are the different ways that you're journaling, what you found to be helpful or not helpful, and how it's also maybe changed your life as well. I love to hear them. All right, thank you so much. Happy journaling. See you in the next one.